If you dig into the urban legends of the dark web, you'll inevitably hear about the Red Room. The myth describes hidden, encrypted live streams where anonymous viewers log in to watch acts of torture in real time. Skeptics are quick to point out a major technical flaw in this lore. In the early days of the internet, bandwidth was incredibly restricted. Streaming live, high-resolution video over a 90s dial-up connection was virtually impossible. But that assumption relies on the idea that these streams had to exist online in the first place. It ignores the possibility that a market for this kind of footage could have bypassed the internet entirely, relying on physical delivery networks. The most disturbing digital myths we have today often have roots in the physical, analog technology of the 1990s. Our story starts in the middle of a fifth-grade school year in the late 90s. A 10-year-old boy strikes up a friendship with the awkward new kid in class, Alfred. They bond over a shared, intense love of professional wrestling, something the rest of their classmates hate. This shared interest leads to a weekend sleepover at Alfred's house. When the narrator arrives, he meets Alfred's dad, an outgoing, highly charismatic guy who wears wrestling shirts and spends the afternoon doing impressions. The dad explains that he is a tape trader. Before streaming, wrestling fans created a massive, decentralized network where they copied and mailed bootleg cassettes of rare matches across the country. The parents give the boys free reign of the house for the night, with one strict rule: the basement is completely off-limits. The dad claims he keeps dangerous work equipment down there. Later that night, the narrator struggles to sleep. In the silence of the house, he hears the dad walk downstairs and open the basement door. A few moments later, the muffled, distorted static of an old television echoes up through the floor vent near his head, playing for nearly an hour. Analog media consumption was naturally isolated. You didn't need a digital profile or a server connection to watch a VHS tape. This isolation provided the perfect camouflage, allowing someone to hide a dangerous obsession right underneath a socially acceptable hobby. The next morning, the dad leaves the house to run errands. The narrator, remembering the strange sounds from the night before, pressures a reluctant Alfred into sneaking downstairs to look at the legendary tape collection. At the back of the unfinished basement, they encounter a harsh psychological deterrent. The collection sits behind a bright yellow wooden door with the words "Get Out" spray-painted across it. Alfred nervously explains that his dad thought it looked cool. Behind the door is a massive archive. An entire wall of shelves is packed with hundreds of videotapes. Every single cassette is meticulously labeled with specific dates and wrestling events. This is the hardware sitting directly opposite the shelves: an older, standalone television and VCR combo. This isolated setup proved the media was being viewed completely off the grid, away from the rest of the family. As the narrator runs his fingers over the meticulously organized rows, he spots a discrepancy. A few tapes are scattered throughout the collection with basic, rushed labels. They just say things like Wrestling Tape 1 and Wrestling Tape 2. In a library where every other tape is a monument to meticulous record-keeping, these few blank spines stand out. They are the only things in this room the father didn't want to define. Expecting to see a rare, unreleased wrestling match from another country, the narrator grabs Wrestling Tape 2 and inserts it into the VCR. There is no wrestling ring. The screen clears to a grainy, monochromatic room. The walls, the floor, and the ceiling are all painted red. The only object in the frame is a single empty wooden chair. The image on the screen is still, but the audio is active. In the background, coming from just outside the camera's view, are the sounds of muffled, agonizing screams. A man wearing a mask walks into the frame. He looks directly at the camera and, in a disturbingly cheerful voice, says, "Stay tuned, you'll want to see what happens next." He starts to laugh as the screaming grows louder. The red-soaked room, the empty chair, and the masked host, it is the same visual vocabulary used by the legends of the dark web today. Long before the Red Room was a digital reality, this tape was already using its blueprint. Terrified, the boys turn off the TV and sprint upstairs, leaving the tape inside the VCR. An hour later, the dad returns. He goes into the basement, and when he comes back up, his charismatic facade is completely gone. He orders the narrator to go home immediately. The narrator returns on Monday to check on his friend. Alfred answers the door in tears, muttering that his dad got a new job and they have to move right away. By Tuesday, the house is empty. The family simply vanished. It took years for the narrator to hear the term red room and finally connect the modern dark web terminology to the terrifying footage he witnessed on that VHS tape. If the tape contained a harmless prank or a weird horror movie, a parent would have just explained it. The father's immediate scorched earth tactic to uproot his family the moment his archive was compromised functions as a retroactive confession of extreme guilt. Looking back, the tape trading network takes on a darker context. A decentralized system of physical mail, passing unmarked cassettes across state lines without digital tracking, is a highly effective logistical channel for a secondary, hidden market of illicit snuff films. The spray-painted warning on the door and those late-night sessions ensured that the father's life as a neighbor and a parent would never have to reckon with the reality of what was happening in that basement. The darkest things we imagine living deep within the internet don't require an encrypted connection to exist. They thrived in analog, operating quietly inside normal suburban houses, right next door.